I hope you guys are all okay and all good. Welcome to another video. My name is George. For those of you who don't know, feel free to subscribe down below if you're not already. And this is a little book wrap-up session. God, that's a bad title for this video. It's 4 mini book reviews. That's what it is. I've mentioned in a lot of videos recently that I've been reading a whole lot more. That's what happens when you can't go outside and live your life and do the job that you love to do so much. You get more time to read. So, I know people normally save like their reading wrap-ups to the end of the month, and I suppose this is sort of the end of the month. But these are essentially books that I've read in the last 2 weeks. So basically since the last time I posted my 6 mini reviews, I now have another 4 for you. So the first book I'm going to talk to you about is 19 Love Songs by David Levithan. This is a short story collection published by Electric Monkey in the UK. I bought this book pretty much when it came out, I think, because I'm a huge David Levithan fan. If I've not made that clear, basically most of my favourite books have been written by him. He's incredible. 19 Love Songs is a short story collection that, as far as I'm concerned, is pretty damn perfect. The thing with short story collections is that it's rare that they're all really, really good stories within a collection. Like, there's always 1 or 2 that you won't get on with because that's just life and that's just being a reader. There's very few that I can think of where there's not at least one story that just didn't quite work for me. The Proud anthology, which David Levithan is also in, and The Change Is Gonna Come anthology as well, are 2 that I consider to be just like this, they're perfect. 19 Love Songs is 19 short stories that have either been published in previous collections or special editions of David's books, or there are a few in here that are brand new. What you have in here is a mix of gorgeous love stories that all hit differently in different ways. They're written in different styles. They're just 19 perfectly crafted little short stories that I thoroughly enjoyed. If you're a fan of David Levithan already and you're wondering whether or not to buy this, 1, why haven't you yet? And 2, there are stories in here from the Everyday universe, from the Two Boys Kissing universe, from the Boy Meets Boy universe, and it's just so wonderful. I thoroughly enjoyed it. This was my bedtime book for a while. I've talked in this channel a lot about my bedtime books. There was a point where I had a book that I was reading before I went to bed and a book that I was reading the rest of the time, and this was my bedtime book for a while because I could dip into it for 1 story and then dip back out again. And I finally finished it this month. I stopped having bedtime books and I just started having books, and I realised that I still had 3 or 4 stories left in this, so I finished this month and it was stunning. The next book that I read was Tuffy by Sarah Crossan. Again, I think I bought this at the same time as 19 Love Songs, or I might have bought it at the same time as Only Mostly Devastated. I can't quite think. But, okay, Sarah Crossan. Let's go with Sarah Crossan first. Sarah Crossan is the author of... I took a picture for Instagram quite recently, so I have these books already piled up and ready for action. Oh my god, they're gonna fall. Sarah Crossan is the author of One, Moonrise, We Come Apart, The Weight of Water, Apple and Rain, Breathe, and... something else. There was 2 that were part of a dystopian duology, I believe. Resist. I'm a big fan of Sarah Crossan. I think she's absolutely wonderful. She writes her novels in verse. I don't know about Breathe and Resist, but with the novels I've just spoken to you about there and with this, they're written in verse. And they are just beautiful. If you are yet to get into Sarah Crossan, you're in for a real treat when you do. They're all winners. She's amazing. I adore her as a human being, and I adore her books. Her books make me cry like a small child. I stayed up way too late finishing this book. I think I started reading it maybe 2 nights before. I read some of it, I read some more, and then it just got to a point, I think at about page 150 or thereabouts, you can kind of see the crease where the last crease in the book is there before I just read all of this. It's so great. It's just so wonderful. There's just... all the words are so carefully chosen. It's all just so beautiful and just... Tuffy is about a girl called Alison who is not safe in her own home for reasons I will not reveal, and she runs away. She runs away with barely anything with her and ends up hiding in what she thinks is an abandoned house, but there's actually an old woman who lives there who has dementia. And it is the story of Alison and this woman. And that's all I'm going to tell you. It's beautiful. I already love Sarah Crossan, and when you sort of tell yourself, I'm not going to cry at this one, you're being silly, stop crying at all of Sarah's books. But then I was reading it and just lying in bed at 2 o'clock in the morning crying to myself because it's so great. It's honestly so great. Read it, please. The next book that I read was All About Mia by Lisa Williamson. I mentioned in my TBR video, which is basically what I'm going to be reading next, which actually you can see, the next 3 are here. I mentioned it in my TBR video as the only Lisa Williamson book that I've not yet read, although I've not read her new one yet, which is above my head just there. But All About Mia is about a girl called Mia who is the middle child in her family. Her older sister is high achieving academically, her younger sister is high achieving in a sporting way, and she just feels like the mess in the middle. When her sister Grace comes home from a holiday in Greece, I believe. She drops some news that Mia thinks is going to finally like show her sister to be like just as messy as she is, but actually the opposite happens and Mia ends up in more trouble than normal. It's such a great book. I loved Mia so much. She is constantly making poor decisions. She's so lovable. She just wants to be seen and she wants to be heard, but she just can't quite get there. It's such a great book. The thing that I said in a previous video, I think, or I might have said it in an Instagram post, is that Lisa writes people. If you've read The Art of Being Normal or Paper Avalanche or this, or if you've read Flawed, which was a 7-way collaborative novel with Sarah Barnard, Holly Bourne, Tanya Byrne, Non Pratt, Melinda Salisbury, Lisa Williamson and Eleanor Wood. If you've read Flawed and you've met Jo, you'll know just how wonderful Lisa is as a writer and just what concrete, real people she makes. All About Mia is no exception. It's gorgeous, it's funny, it's sweet. I loved it fiercely. It's so, so great. If you've not read Lisa, go read some of Lisa's books. She is wonderful. Trust and believe. And the most recent book that I read is The Past and Other Things That Should Stay Buried by Sean David Hutchinson. I bought this while I was on holiday in Florida. If you've watched our Florida vlogs, you will have seen me buy this. I miss being in Florida. This makes me think about when I was in Florida. So, you know, a happy book here. The Past and Other Things That Should Stay Buried is about a boy called Dino, whose ex-best friend July has died. His family are morticians, so her body is like in his house or like near his house. And he goes to sort of like get it ready and she comes back to life. And the book is them trying to figure out why she's alive and how to make her dead again. And also to sort of resolve what happened in their friendship. It's such a great concept. Like Sean David Hutchinson, I've said this a million times before, he does like huge concept and makes it just like so real and believable, and it's so, so great. I loved this book a lot. I thought it was so much fun. It was so funny. Conceptually, it all just worked. Like the whole book was just firing on all cylinders. And like for anyone who is a musical theatre person, if you've ever heard of the musical Death Takes a Holiday, which is, the music is by Maury Yeston. It's beautiful. We did it at Mount View. This book has a very similar vibe in like a sort of like what happens when death stops. It's a very similar vibe in that sense. But this book is stunning. It's so much fun. It's so funny. It's very witty in that Sean David Hutchinson way. And yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great. I've read like such bangers during lockdown. Like I've officially read more books this year than I read in 2019. Yeah, 2019, that was last year, Jesus. But yeah, I didn't have a good reading year last year, but I'm already having a good reading year this year. Long may it continue. But I mean, I'd rather we were out of quarantine, but like hopefully like if we could strike a balance between me having time to read and like me being allowed to go outside and like do things that I love to do, that would be great. Thanks, universe. So these are my most recent reads. Let me know in the comments below what you have been reading during these very, very odd times. If you've been able to read at all, or if you've read any of these, let's talk about it. But for now, that is the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, don't forget to put a thumb on it and subscribe down below if you want to see more. If you have made it this far in the video, I think I need to get back into the habit of doing this. I know I forget to sometimes, but if you've made it this far in the video, what emoji do I want you to leave me? Leave me your most used emoji. That's an interesting one. If you've made it this far in the video, leave your most used emoji in the comments below. That'll be fun. But that is the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I love each and every one of your faces, and I will speak to you as soon as I possibly can. Bye. Bye. I've lost my mind.